as I've been thinking about AI agents more and more over the last few days, the problem that AI agents are going to have is the complexity for users to get them going. We've seen ChatGPT just explode as a consumer product, and a large part of that is obviously what it can do, but a lot of their success is due, I think, to the interface and the ease of use it has for anyone to get insane value from ChatGPT. Now, agents is a different story, and most of the landscape around AI agents that I've seen requires a technical level or has a learning curve that is currently beyond the vast majority of your ChatGPT user. So we're not going to see a huge jump in the short term of someone going from ChatGPT to an agent building platform. So what I wanted to think about was, what is a really good next step for a ChatGPT power user? So something that's almost agent-like, but is really just an enhancement of ChatGPT. So let me show you what something like that might look like. Here's what I spun up over the weekend. It's called FlowEngine, and essentially the goal is for power ChatGPT users to generate multiple outputs per ChatGPT request and give the user the ability to iterate quickly on different versions and different iterations. So in this example that I'll kind of walk through today is writing an email. So just as that you might use ChatGPT to help you write a better email, I can do the same in FlowEngine. I'll show you the output and then I'll show you how I got to this. Ultimately, what we've got here is a set of 6 outputs. So already different to ChatGPT, which is all kind of in line in one chat thread. And what I can do here is, as I read through these outputs, I can quickly thumb up and thumb down versions that I do and don't like. And if there's specific text, like the subject line in this case, so your feedback matters, I can actually highlight that and use that in the next iteration. So from here, I can ultimately iterate really quickly. I can add in custom other considerations, or I can just use quick suggestions. So that might be something like, hey, I want this to be a bit longer and a bit more formal. And from here, I can also set the number of additional outputs on the next iteration. So I'll do 3 in this case. So I hit next iteration, and all of a sudden I've got 3 more options. You can see they're all longer compared to the previous set. One of the things that I highlighted was it must use your feedback matters. So all 3 of these outputs use that. And it uses the other examples that I thumbed up to make these ones. So I can continuously do this in terms of kind of highlighting things. Maybe I want bullet points now, and I want 5. I'll do 6 again. So converting this slowly more and more, stacking into that. So in this case, I can start to see the use of bullet points in these, and ultimately I can copy this and now send it as an email. So that's an example of something that I've created, which I think is almost agent-like in terms of the power and speed at which an agent can operate, although it's not an agent. So yeah, this is something that I've created, which I think could be an interesting next step for people who are looking to. So ultimately, I think this is an example of a power tool that's not quite an agent, but it's something a bit more than ChatGPT. So if I was to do this in ChatGPT, I would do something like this. I would start with a prompt like this. So help me write this email, and I've got some bullet points here. What's great is ChatGPT does actually give me 3 versions out of the gate, so I can kind of compare and contrast these versions. But what becomes more difficult here is how I provide feedback. So, a lot of typing here. I have to either type and give feedback that way. So maybe like version 3, more formal, longer, and 3 more versions. So I might type something like that. It's not too difficult, but definitely takes a bit more effort for something that I would have already had quite a few more versions using FlowEngine. So from here I can read that. If I was to get text from, let's say, if I really liked this subject line, I've got to copy this and say use this subject line in all. And if I want to, I ultimately have to keep on doing that as I kind of go through, find things that I like, and copy and paste. So not the end of the world if there's something that I don't like. Again, I would have to write something like, don't like this, scroll back up, then submit again. So a lot of scrolling, a lot of copy and pasting, ultimately not the usage that a power user would demonstrate or use in ChatGPT. So how would I do this inside of FlowEngine? Jumping into FlowEngine is going to be really simple. The most technical thing you'll find is finding your OpenAI API key. At the end of the day, this is a ChatGPT wrapper, so you do need an API. Come to platform.openai.com to get your API key. In this project section here, simply create new secret key, take that secret key and paste it here. Never share this key with anyone else, and at the end of your session, you're always welcome to delete it. This should just be getting used on your PC or computer, but it's up to you or whether or not you want to delete it or leave it there. Then from there, we can enter a prompt. So we'll use the same email prompt that we used before. We'll choose that we want 6 outputs and start generating the outputs. In just 1 second or less, we can see the 6 outputs have been generated. As we did at the start, we can ultimately, find outputs that we like, thumb them up, and then also copy or select text that we like and want to use in the next iteration. We can come down here and say, hey, we want this to be longer and more formal, just as we did before, and we'll just generate 4 versions on this iteration. So again, quickly, simply comes in, we can see which one we like, we can copy that and send it as an email. Once we're done, we can start again and go on a new prompt. And ultimately, if this was the end of the session, we can delete our API key. In summary, I think FlowEngine is a nice little example of what tools are going to become more and more available to ChatGPT power users that don't require a ton of setting up and configuration like most agent systems do. Obviously, the trade-off is the sophistication of what this can do versus an agentic system. But hopefully you found this useful. I'd be really curious to see what kind of ChatGPT power tools you might be using today, or what problems you have with ChatGPT that a power tool might be able to solve. Let me know in the comments and I can give a go at building it.